let's talk a little bit about the BBC. This is very early days, but this is the first time in the history of our state broadcaster paid for by us hapless TV licence fee payers. 3.5 billion quid a year they get from us, and still they say they haven't got enough money. What? So they want to get some more money by taking adverts on podcasts and for on-demand radio shows that are broadcast on different media, as Alex just said, like Spotify. But this is swiftly, they say, going to move on to programmes like The Archers and Desert Island Discs, big Channel 4, Radio 4 programmes. So this looks like the thin end of the wedge. If they start to rake in money, if they start to take adverts for The Archers and Desert Island Discs, both big programmes, then they're starting to live on commercial revenue. Why should we have to pay for them as well? They can't have both, right?
Well, I think this is clearly the BBC coming to the realisation that everybody else has, that the licence fee is not sustainable. The charter renewal, I think, is due in 2 or 3 years' time.
27.
Yeah, and so I think that the Conservative government have made it clear that they are looking at this very closely. I don't know how Labour feel about this. We're yet to hear their views on this, but I suspect they are more pro-licence fee. Yeah. But the reality is, young people do not watch traditional TV, and the licence fee, there is a huge question mark over it.
I mean, I think it's important to point out the BBC have been making money commercially for a very long time. In fact, they sell rights to big programmes abroad. If you watch BBC content in another country, if you read BBC online in a different country, they allow advertising in that space. So this has actually been going on a long time, and this is about putting advertising on an international platform where someone in Jamaica could be listening to The Archers on Spotify, because you can't log into BBC iPlayer from abroad. It's that's protected, and you could try getting around with a VPN. So actually, this has been going on a long time. It's just an expansion of that, and arguably one could say that this sort of funds the transition to cutting the licence fee and actually enables that future goal, if that is what you want to see happen.
I say to the BBC, drown yourself in commercials, have as many adverts as you like, pack the entire network with adverts and pay for yourself. And then you will find, and this is going to be a real culture shock for you people who work at the state broadcaster, you'll have to make programmes that people actually want to watch, which is a completely alien concept to all of you, I know, because if you make programmes that people don't want to watch, you won't get any advertising revenue. So pay for yourself, make programmes what people want to see, and stop charging us the grotesque fee of £170 a year, even to watch channels that are not the BBC. This licence fee system is the most absurd anachronism of this country, and we've got to get rid of it. That's my thought. Anyone else? Anyone want to get involved?
You know, like I said, I've always been far more sanguine about this because, I mean, look, if the BBC operated as it should operate, and if it did act like an impartial organisation, not one that's recently had to be attacked by Richard Tice's lawyers and forced into a grovelling apology for calling Reform UK, the political party, far right, which is clearly libellous
should have been
and
extreme
slander.
Right,
but, you know, if they actually acted as an impartial broadcaster, and as you said, made economical programmes and programmes of public interest rather than just paying Gary Lineker and people to swan about in tutus on that horrible Saturday night show, then I would actually be the first to defend the licence fee and defend having platforms without advertising, because that actually aids impartiality. But you can't have it both ways. You can't let go of being the bastion of impartiality.
I want to get to the point where it's none of my business what the BBC does. It can do what it likes. It can be impartial. It can carry on its absurd pro-Palestine reporting. And I won't have any say in the matter because it's an independent broadcaster making its own money, and it can do what it likes. Right now, it can't, or it shouldn't be able to, because I'm paying for it, and yet it does behave like that, which is an outrage.
I think that the thing is, the point of the BBC and the reason why we pay a licence fee is that it's there to do the things that commercial organisations cannot do. Yet the things it cuts when it's short of money are those very things.
Exactly.
So local radio, which actually really is important to people. They find out what's going on in their area, they've got a connection with it, a relationship with it. A lot of older people who are mainly kind of housebound, don't get out so much, have those really close relationships with those local radio stations. That's all been really dramatically cut.
And of
that's
course,
what
the
the
news
BBC
channel
should be doing.
UK Rolling News gone, merged
Yeah.
with the BBC
Yeah.
World. I wish they'd pay less money to rubbish on television, some of their rubbish dramas and rubbish reality shows and rubbish dancing things, and actually said, let's keep some sporting events so the whole nation can enjoy them together.
Yeah.
But no, these are important arguments.
Are you referring to Strictly Come Dancing
I
as
hate
rubbish?
that.
How dare you? How dare you?
Oh gosh, it's most that is an example of a 3-hour nauseating load of drivel that could be done in half an hour with people that people actually know.
I've got a better. You could do it in no time at all by not
exactly.
running
Just
it.
get
God,
rid of that.
I hate Strictly
that
Come Dancing.
programme.
But
Hate
arguably,
it.
this is the whole point. If you look at the BBC remit, arguably they shouldn't be spending any money on Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah.
They should be spending money on local broadcasting,
Yeah.
the
Sport,
BBC
news.
orchestra, that kind of thing. Retaining the rights to the big sports events because they've lost all of that, and so on and so forth.